Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Thank you for allowing me to present AB 2260, which would require certain public and private buildings constructed after January 1st, 2023 to install and maintain 6 trauma kits on their premises in order to treat people in need of emergency medical care during a traumatic emergency event. In response to the tragic mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, a group of doctors convened a panel of national experts from law enforcement and emergency medical services to create an improved response system directed primarily at the control of life-threatening blood loss. In their recommendations, a group of experts concluded that bystanders, immediate responders should be trained and empowered to stop hemorrhage in order to save lives. These experts also recommended trauma kits be placed in public places such as shopping malls, schools, sports venues, transportation centers, etc., right next to AEDs. Recognizing the difficulty to maintain direct pressure, they also recommended the use of tourniquets to control severe bleeding. With mass casualty events becoming more common in 2015, President Obama launched the Stop the Bleed campaign to encourage bystanders to become trained and empowered to take life-saving actions while EMS personnel are en route. Sacramento, like communities across the country, is no stranger to these traumatic events. The last 2 months, there have been 2 mass shootings that have taken the lives of innocent victims. During these tragic events, persons suffering from severe blood loss can die within 5 minutes, so every second counts. That is why it's so important to ensure our immediate responders have the instructions and equipment needed to render emergency care at the scene of an emergency. Recent amendments clarifies how this bill applies to the Good Samaritan law and which should be properly managed entity, restock, and replace equipment, among other things. Before I introduce my witnesses, I would like to thank the supporters and stakeholders who have worked diligently on the bill, including the American College of Surgeons, California Chamber of Commerce, and the California Business Properties Association for their assistance to address this liability concerns with the previous versions of the bill. With here to me today to provide in-person testimony is Dr. Amy Leipert, a trauma surgeon with the USC San Diego Health, and Dr. Thomas Duncan, who is also a trauma surgeon with the Ventura County Medical Center. Thank you.
Thank you. First witness, please.
Good morning. I thank the Judiciary Committee for the privilege of addressing you. I am Dr. Amy Lippert, a double board certified trauma surgeon at the Level 1 Trauma Center at the University of California, San Diego. I represent the American College of Surgeons today, the 3 California chapters of the American College of Surgeons, and myself. Life-threatening bleeding can occur anywhere, your home, the workplace, in public places, involving traffic accidents, and yes, even mass trauma events. It can be accidental, intentional, or from natural disaster. Not unlike an unpredictable heart attack and cardiac arrest that must be addressed with CPR training and AED equipment, bleeding control training and trauma kits must also be readily available to address life-threatening hemorrhage in our communities. The Stop the Bleed program was developed by the American College of Surgeons and co-sponsored by the White House, the Department of Defense, and the Department of Homeland Security. And this made this possible. These national organizations, the national government, have recognized the positive impact of training and the availability of this non-expirable equipment and what it can have on the public health and the life-saving ability of our neighbors, family members, and coworkers. The injured bleeding patient must survive long enough to get to a trauma center so we can treat them before they have bled out. An adult can bleed to death within 5 minutes. That's before emergency medical services can arrive. Bleeding can be treated with easy-to-use tools, and the public can be trained. It contains simple equipment, gloves and a mask, trauma shears, which are simply scissors that are blunt-tipped and safe, and gauze packing and a tourniquet. There are no expiration dates on this equipment as required by AB 2260. The tourniquets simply must be of a standardized quality to ensure its effectiveness. Education to the public is widespread and free. An existing California law exempts anyone who provides emergency assistance from civil liability. Public and private organizations that sponsor, support, or train people are also exempt from these civil allegations. California has led the effort to require AEDs. Availability of bleeding control kits also makes these tools accessible to save lives. Keeping them near AEDs reduces installation costs, and the cost is minimal, just 15% of what one AED installation is. Each kit, such as this, is about $40, and that is less than $250 for all 6 kits required in the bill. Published study has showed tourniquet use in LA County decreased in-hospital death rate from 9% down to 1% when the tourniquets were used prior to transport to the hospital. Surveys also show that the general public supports the availability of these kits and that they will participate in a life to save a life, particularly when there's protective gear such as the gloves and masks and the equipment such as gauze or the tourniquet are available to them. The widespread availability of these tools, these techniques, will save more lives and result in less blood transfusion. I urge you to vote yes on AB 2260 for bleeding control kits to be made available where they are needed, in the community, to save lives and to stop the bleed.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Good morning, and thank you to the Judiciary Committee for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dr. Thomas Duncan. I'm the Trauma Medical Director at Ventura County Medical Center, an American College of Surgeons Adult Level 2 Trauma Center. Today, I also represent the American College of Surgeons and 3 of its affiliated chapters. This bill has wide support, including but not limited to multidisciplinary state and national surgical organizations, the California Medical Association, and California nurses. It also has general support from many fire, police, and EMS personnel. Dr. Liepert and I are going to give you a brief demonstration, an overview of the approachability of the techniques by demonstrating wound packing and tourniquet application. Specifics are covered in the Stop the Bleed free training sessions, and pictorial instructions are included in all Stop the Bleed trauma kits. Courses are often taught in high schools to students and are generalized to the public. There are 2 main techniques: wound packing with holding pressure, and if necessary, tourniquet placement. Recent studies have not demonstrated any adverse effects of injury or limb loss from tourniquet use in either combat or civilian environments, a worry now relegated to history. Robust training, as taught by the Stop the Bleed curriculum, supports survival and transport to trauma centers that can then address the injury and save lives. As trauma surgeons, we know the patient must be alive for us to intervene. These simple techniques allow more patients to have that opportunity. Help us stop the bleed. Vote to advance AB 2260. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone in the hearing room who would like to speak in support of AB 2260? We'll take name, affiliation, and support. No further testimony. Thank you.
Jay Doucette, I'm Chief of Trauma at UC San Diego. I'm also a governor in the chapters of the American College of Surgeons and a 3-time Afghanistan veteran, and I give my very strong support for AB 2260.
I'm Alexandra Johns. I'm a general surgery resident here in Sacramento at UC Davis, and I give my strong support of AB 2260.
Chris Johnson, Manager of State Affairs for the American College of Surgeons, in strong support of the bill.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, operator, would you open the lines for anyone who would like to indicate support for AB 2260?
Thank you. If you would like to testify in support to AB 2260, please press 1 followed by 0 at this time. Mr. Chair, we'll begin with line 42. Please go ahead, 42.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. Roxanne Gould, representing the American Nurses Association of California, in strong support.
Line 12, you are open.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Connie Delgado on behalf of the Emergency Nurses Association of California in support.
As a final reminder, please press 10 to testify in support for AB 2260. Line 98, please go ahead.
Mr. Chair and members, Brandon Marchi with the California Medical Association in strong support.
Mr. Chair, there's no other participants queued up at this time.
Thank you, operator. We will now move to opposition. I do not have any opposition listed. Is there any opposition in the hearing room to AB 2260?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Rex W. Heim with California Business Properties Association. I just want to take the time. We were opposed unless amended before. We have had a great time working with the author and his staff, and we really appreciate all the work that's been done, and we would like to formally remove our opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, operator, would you open the lines for any opposition to AB 2260?
To express opposition to AB 2260, please press 10 at this time. 1 followed by 0. Mr. Chair, nobody's queuing up.
All right. Thank you, operator. You may close the lines. We'll bring it back to the committee for questions or comments. Seeing none, Mr. Rodriguez, you may close.
With that, I would like to thank the chair and members of the committee. Look forward to your support when you do have a quorum. As you can see in my hand is a kit, roughly about $40. With this would save someone's life if the time ever becomes needed. So with that, I urgently ask for I vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take it up once we have a quorum.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Medina, our item number 7, AB 1844. Item number 4, AB 2260, Rodriguez. I'll take a motion. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. That motion is due pass to appropriations. Call the roll, please.
Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Cunningham? Cunningham, aye. Patterson? Holden? Calra? Calra, aye. Kiley? Mainshine? Mainshine, aye. Reyes? Reyes, aye. Rivas? Rivas, aye. Lee? Lee, aye. Wicks? Wicks, aye.
That bill is out. Item number 5, AB